This is the FFR Trading Market Minute, and again, this is a daily candlestick chart of the SPY, the ETF for the S&P 500. Well, we've got a big Fed meeting coming up Wednesday next week. In the meantime, let's just see what the market has been doing here. So I pointed out, I think last week we had some divergence here between price, which is making a higher high here, but the oscillator is not following. So that divergence, you can see the market is starting to flatten out here. That is typical ahead of a Fed meeting. The market will kind of consolidate and then wait for that announcement. This is a biggie because the Fed has told us prior that there was the potential for rate cuts this year. Market was anticipating perhaps early as May. Now it looks like that might be in jeopardy. In fact, we'll have to see what the language is in the meeting to see, are rate cuts still on the table this year, or is that off the table? Is it maybe later, second half of the year? So a lot of this needs to get sorted out, and the market is going to find some direction when it gets a little more clarity. If rate cuts are off the table, obviously those rate cuts are already priced into the market, so the market would have to drop to compensate for that. If we look at if we can go to the weekly chart here, you'll see the weekly chart. We also have some divergence here as we add that higher high in price from week to week here, and lower highs in the oscillator there. And then finally the monthly chart, we can see the monthly chart is overbought as well. So we're due for a pullback. Maybe we get that ahead of the Fed meeting here, as we've been correcting so far today here. We'll see if the market finds some firmer ground here. We do have this open gap, so I think that might come into play. Maybe after the Fed meeting, if we do sell off hard the rest of this week, early into next week, it's possible they could close this gap before the meeting and then maybe get good news during the meeting and we launch off of that area. But expect at least some consolidation to some selling here ahead of the Fed meeting, and then we'll see what the Fed says and what kind of direction we get from that. Some of the big economic data set for next week. Again, Wednesday, March 20th, we've got the FOMC interest rate decision and the press conference to follow that. Thursday's S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, and Friday's S&P Global Services PMI. Hope that helps. Have a great rest of your trading week. We'll see you back next week in the FFR Trading Market Minute.